Hello everyone. In today's class, I'm going to explain to you about data structure in series. Let me remind you, in the previous class, I've explained to you about the data types that we can use in series, like then we have float 64, we have object, and so on. So in today's class, I'm going to explain to you about the data structures in Panda. So when we talk about the data structures in Pandas deals with the three data structure. The first one is series, the second one is data frame, and the third one is panel. So in today's class, I'm going to explain to you about the series. So what is series? Remember, series is a one-dimensional label array capable of holding data of any type. It can be integer type, it can be string, it can be float, it can be object, or etc. And remember that the series data are mutable. That means it can be changed. The data inside the series can be changed. But the size of series is immutable. That means it cannot be changed. And the axis label are collectively called as index. So let's see over here in this diagram, this part over here is the label and this part over here is your series. The moment you create your series, suppose the data over here, I input the integer data, let's say 50, 55, 60, 65 and 70. Automatically when you run, you will see that it will not display only the data, but it display along with the label. So these collectively are known as index. Like I mentioned over here that the series data are mutable. So this data over here, it is 50. It's not compulsory that it will be 50. If you want to change it, you can change, for example, to 30 or 100 or any. All these data over here can be changed. But the size of this series, the size is 4. Therefore, the size of this series cannot be changed. So let me explain to you how you will create your series. Okay, to create a Panda series, you can create by the following constructor. But remember, whenever you create a Panda series, you require a series method, that is series open and close parenthesis. And the constructor like what? This is the syntax that you need to remember. Pandas.series. Inside the open and close parenthesis, you can have the data, you can have the index, or along with the index data. Or instead of mentioning the word panda, you can also use the alternative word, that is PD. PD.series. Inside the open and close parenthesis, you can put the data, index if required, and the index data. So over here, this data can be any value, or you can take it from the ND array or the NumPy or the list. And the index over here is same. It can be any value, or you can also take from the ND array or the NumPy or the list. And remember, this index data over here, it should be the same length as the data. What is the meaning of that? That means if you have 3 datas, the index should be 3. It should not be that you have over here only 4 data and the index over here is 5. That is wrong. When you have 4 data, the index data as well should be 4. So let me show you how to create a Panda series. So over here, I'm creating an empty series. First and foremost, I have to import pandas. Just like in Python, you import maths so that you can use the maths function. So same thing over here. To use the series method, I have to import the pandas. So I import pandas as PD. So over here, this line over here, the moment you type import pandas as PD, that means we import the pandas library and aliasing as PD. or we make the pandas available in the environment. And what is this PD? PD is just the alternate names of the panda or of the modules panda. You just shortened the word panda to PD. Then after that, I mentioned I create the variable S over here is the series variable. Then over here, instead of writing panda, I make it, I create the alternate name, that is PD. Therefore, PD dot, then I use the method, that is series, and I print S. When you print this program or when you execute this program, it will print nothing because it is an empty series. It does not have any data. Okay, let me show you with program. Over here you will see I'm creating an empty series. I import panda as PD. S is the variable of the series. Then I use PD, that is the alternate names of panda. Then I use the method series open and close without inputting any data. And when I print, okay, when I print my program, you will see over here it mentioned that warning because there is no data in the program, and the series that I create over here is empty. I think you can see over here the series that I create is empty, and the data type over here is float 64. Okay, let me show you how I create the series. Again back, I create a series over here, not empty series but a series with data. First, I import the pandas so that it will be available in the environment as PD. Then I create S. Over here is the variable of the series using the method series. PD.series, and over here instead of making it empty, I input the data what? Jan, Feb, March, April and May. So let's see over here in the previous one, you can see in the method it is empty. But over here in this method, I input the data. Over here when I print, the series is empty, but this one when I print, you will see it display the output of Jan, Feb, March, April and May. So here you will see when I print out this program, it display what? In the level or in the index 0, the data is Jan. In the index 1, the data is Feb. In the index 2, the data is March. 3 is April and 4 is May. This series that I create over here is not an empty series, but it is a series with data, and the data is what? Jan, Feb, March, April and May. Where you'll input these data, when you create a variable S, you use the word PD for the data, for the pandas, sorry. Then you use the method series, and inside the open and close parenthesis, you can input the data over here. And when you print, you can print the variable S. Okay, apart of creating a single series, you can also create a many series in one single program. Let me show you. Over here in the second program, you will see I have what? Same thing. I import pandas as PD. In the first variable S, I create what? The data of Jan, Feb, March, April and May. So when I print, it will display the output Feb, Jan, Feb, March, April and May. In the second series S1 series variable, I create 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. So when I display, it will display these data. Okay, let me show you the output. It will look over here. You will see the first print as the output is what? In the index 0, it print Jan. In the 1, Feb, March, April and May. In the second one, second series S1, 31, 28, when I print the value of S1, it will display over here in the 0, index we have 31, in the one we have 28, in the second 31, in the third one 30 and 31. Same thing, you can create the data as well as the index data. In the third variable S2, over here I create what? The data is Jan, Feb, March, April and May. And I specify the index by myself, not by default by the computer. So over here my index is what? 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. So when I print the value of S2 over here, you will see the output is, because I specified over here the index is not 0, 1, 2 and all, I specified and I provide the index by myself, 31, 28. So over here the output you will see 31, it goes the index for the Jan, 28 it goes for Feb, 31 it goes for March, 30 for April and 31 for May. So you can also specify the data as well as the index, but you need to remember over here I have 5 datas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over here the index that I provide should be the same, that means 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Remember, the number of data should be equal with the number of index. Same thing over here, I create again the fourth series variable S3, and in this series I create first the data is 31, 28, 31 and the index over here is Jan, Feb and March. So the previous one the index is the days, but the second one the index is Jan and the data is 31. The index is Feb and the data is 28. So this is how you can create your series. Inside the method series you can input the data. If required, in this method series you can input what? The data along with the index. You specify the index and the index data. So a part of creating the series with the help of series function, you can also create series and take the data from the list. So let me show you for that. Okay, over here I create the data inside the series method, that is Jan, Feb, March, April and May. But instead of creating in the series method, I can also create a list and convert that list to series. You can see over here I create one variable month, and this month is the list variable. Month is the list variable, and in this list I have the data one Jan, Feb, March, April and May. So to convert this list into a series, I declare one variable, series variable s pd.series. Instead of mentioning the data, I take the variable of the list, that is month. So when I print the value of s and it will display these data. Instead of inputting the data in the series method, I create over here another variable, that is the list variable. I input the value or the data in the list variable and I convert the month variable or the list variable month into a series by using pd.month. So you will see the output over here. Just like when you create the series with the data, same thing over here. When you print, you will see in the 0 index the value is Jan, in the 1 index the value is Feb, 2 March, 3 April and 4 is May. So over here you can create a series using a list. Same thing, just like the previous program, instead of one single data, okay, you can also create two lists. So let me show you that one. Okay, over here in my first series, I create what? Jan, Feb, March, April. In my second series, I create the days, that is 31. Instead of creating in the series method, I will create in the list. How? My first list variable month, it contained the data Jan, Feb, March, April and May. In the second list variable days, I have the data 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. So now when I want to run, okay, over here simply I print the value of S and it will print these data. But over here in the list, using list, what I mentioned, S is equal to pd dot series. Instead of inputting the data over here, I call the variable month. So whatever data is here, now it will store in the variable S. So when I print, it will print this data of the month. So same thing over here for the day. I mentioned in S1, I convert the day variable list and I store this data from days to S1. So when I print out, it will print the value 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. Okay, you will see the output over here. For the first one, I take the data from the variable month and it's stored in the variable S, series variable. So it displays Jan, Feb, March, April and May. In the second one, S1, from where I get the data, I'm not putting here, but I get the data from the variable days. So those data in the variable days, it will store in S1. Therefore, when I print S1, it print 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. Same thing, instead of using only month and day, you can, if required, you can also index them. How? In the third variable S2, I take the data days, I index it with the data from the month. So when I print the value of S2, you will see over here, like I mentioned, the data is what? From the days and the index is month. Therefore, the index it print Jan, Feb, March and the data it print 31, 28, 31, 30 and 31. So if you want vice versa, over here in the last variable, the data is no longer days but it is month. And I index it with days, not with month. So when I print the value of S3, over here you will see 31 is the index and the data is the month, that is Jan. 28 is Feb, 31 is March, 30 April, 31 is May. So from here we understand that we can create the series using lists, or you can create the series directly, by using the series method and input the data in the method. So hope you understand, everyone.